Welcome to the Beetlejuice My GM mode.
Love that shit.
Even though Beetlejuice is no longer the character being used because 2K glitched, it's fine. Even though you see Durag Vince, in our hearts it's Beetlejuice, and we're just gonna pretend it's Beetlejuice and continue. And I'll just add a Durag to Beetlejuice in the thumbnails. I hope you saw that last episode. Speaking of last episode, made a little mistake with the recap. We're about to fix that, but before we get into the whole fixing and recaps, like and subscribe. Check out the other videos. Let's get into it. In the last episode, this is what I had for John Cena's record. It's alright, except for the Tag Team Championships. I have him as a 3-time Tag Team Champion, and that is not right in any world. This is the legit one. John Cena is a 1-time Tag Team Champion. So, it's kind of a tradition. Every time we do this, I mess up. I have to fix it. The first time I did it in 2K22, I messed up. Then I did it Season 2, 2K22 messed up. And I did so well in 2K23, but I messed up. But here you go. This is the correct John Cena stats. Now let's get into the correct recap. We have our Universal Champion, the Rattlesnake, Stone Cold Steve Austin with an 11-9 record, 1-time Universal Champion. We brought back the feud of Edge versus Stone Cold that we did in 2K22. Stone Cold was WB champ, Edge took it from him. Now Stone Cold took the Universal title from Edge. Our SmackDown Women's Champion, Allie Brawler, we brought up how she's the first ever enhancement talent we've signed to GM mode, and she immediately wins the women's title. She's the first enhancement wrestler for us to win a title, and it's the world title for the women's. 4-2 record, 1-time Women's SmackDown Champion. We have our Intercontinental Champion burning it down, Seth Rollins, with a 1-3 record, his first win and only win, beating John Cena for the Intercontinental Championship. 1-time Intercontinental Champion, can he woe his way to success? I don't know what that means. We have one half of our SmackDown Tag Team Champions, The Undertaker, with a 12-10 record, 2-time Tag Champ, 1-time MVP. Brought up how nothing's really been happening since he lost the tag titles. Actually, he never lost them. Season 1 ended, then we did the draft. But him and John Cena, they reformed as a tag team. They beat Robert Roode and LA Knight. Yeah, and now they're tag team champions again. Speaking of John Cena, our other half of the tag team champions did a little mishap last episode with his record. I put he was a 4-time tag team champion. I don't know how I messed it up that badly. Maybe I copied one of the 4s already on the screen. But he's a 2-time tag team champion, twice with The Undertaker. 19-13 record, 4-time Universal Champion, 2-time Intercontinental Champion, 2-time Tag, 4-time MVP. We have one half of our current Women's Tag Team Champions, Mommy Rhea Ripley, with a 7-5 record, 1-time Tag Champ, 1-time MVP. We have the other half of the Tag Team Champions, Lacey Evans, who did not wrestle last episode. She stays at 3-6 and still a 1-time Tag Champ, and she got released from WWE in real life, so sorry, Lacey. We have Bayley at a 13-11 record, 2-time Women's Champion, 2-time MVP. Have not really had much success in Season 1. Well, she did win the title at the beginning of the season. Then Lita took it. What will happen to Bayley? Who knows? We have Bret, the Hitman Hart, at a 12-11 record. It was not looking good for him last episode. Cody gave him the beatdown. 2-time Universal Champion, 1-time MVP. We have Asuka at a 15-12 record, 2-time Women's Tag Champ. She's going to get a title shot this episode. Will she add to that resume? We have Nikita Lyons. How did I mess that up? 7-3 record, 1-time Tag Team Champion, and last episode she became a 1-time MVP. We have Lita, who for the majority of Season 2 has held on to that women's title, so it's weird seeing her without it. Season 2, it's been Lita, Allie Brawler, and Bayley. Wow. How many did we have Season 1? I don't remember. I know Bayley, Lita, Bianca. Anyway, 12-12 record, 2-time Women's Champ, 2-time MVP. We have the Rated R Superstar Edge. He was Universal Champion, had an amazing start, but it's been slowing down, especially after the injury. 5-5 record, 1-time Universal Champion, 1-time MVP. Don't know if I said it last episode, probably not, but Edge might be retired now, so shout out the legend Edge. We have the Celtic Warrior Sheamus, who started off terrible since we signed him in Season 2. 0-4, but last episode went off, won 4 wins in a row. Now he has a 4-4 record. Will he shine? We have Logan Paul. Found a picture of him in a bathrobe. It looks funny. 10 and 15 record, 3-time Universal Champion, 1-time MVP. Like Bailey, hasn't really done much since season 1. We have Cody Rhodes at a 14 and 16 record, finished his rivalry with Bret Hart, 1-time Universal Champion, which that win was by accident, but it happened. 3-time Intercontinental Champion. We have the glorious Robert Roode, who last episode was a tag team champion, won MVP, and he just has fallen from grace. Has no titles now, but 10 and 17 record, 2-time Intercontinental Champion, 1-time Tag Champ, 1-time MVP. We have The Miz, who didn't wrestle last episode, so he stays at a 10 and 18 record, 1-time Intercontinental Champion, and a 1-time Tag Team Champion. Is that an awesome resume? You tell me. We have LA Knight, yeah, at a 4 and 7 record, 1-time Intercontinental Champion, 1-time Tag Team Champion. Will he shine this episode? We have Bianca Belair. Since we brought her back, she hasn't really had that many matches and hasn't really won that many. 5 and 10 record, 1-time Women's SmackDown Champion. We have Dakota Kai at a 3 and 6 record. We have Stacy Keibler, who also didn't wrestle last episode, so she stays at a 2 and 6 record. We have Randy Orton, who came back from injury and he lost all 4 matches, 1 and 10 record. It's a shame because in 2K22 this man was one of the best in GM mode. We have Nikki Bella, who has still yet to win a match, at a 0 and 5 record. It is time for the Beetlejuice Slapnuts MVPs from last episode. Your male Slapnuts MVP is Break the Glass. It is Stone Cold Steve Austin. What? Stone Cold Steve Austin went undefeated, won the Universal title. He is your MVP. Sheamus really close, went 4-0. But Stone Cold 3-0 and won a title. Austin 316 is your Slapnuts MVP. And the female Slapnuts MVP is
Austin 316 says I just whipped your ass.
the female Slapnuts MVP is Allie Brawler. She had an amazing episode last episode, won the women's title, had one of the best records. She's been amazing so far. First enhancement talent we signed. First enhancement talent to win a championship, the main championship, the women's title. And not only that, now the first enhancement talent to win MVP. Don't have a clip for her, so don't really know what to do.
I want to cry.
Sheamus versus Stone Cold, MVP versus runner-up, and Sheamus picks up the win 5 in a row. He's angry he didn't get that MVP. Bayley does a promo trying to improve her pop. Lacey versus Stacy versus Bianca versus Nikita, and Lacey Evans picks up the win, starts a rivalry, and then we continue the rivalry. Robert Roode cuts a promo. We have Seth and Brett versus Logan and Randy gets a win finally and starts a rivalry. Then we have The Miz doing a promo. We give Asuka the title match she wants. Submission versus Allie Brawler. Asuka does not capitalize and Allie gets injured. We have Gigi versus Tamina in a last woman standing match. And Tamina picks up the win against the NXT Women's Champion. A disappointing match. No promos. Natalya versus Candice LeRae. Candice LeRae picks up the win against Natalya. Then we have Reggie versus MVP. Ooh, the pop's not looking good for MVP. Reggie picks up the win in yet another disappointing match. Commander Aziz versus Solo in an Iron Man match, and Commander Aziz is red hot. We continue the red hot rivalry of Karen and Charlotte versus Nikki and Stark. And oof, they lost the titles, won it back, and they win again. Bruno does a self-promo. Molly Holly versus Pretty Ruthless in an Iron Woman match, and Molly Holly picks up the win. Starts a rivalry. Titus Worldwide cuts a promo. Then we have Rikishi versus Eddie Pop. False counts anywhere. You know, Rikishi called him out, and now we get to find his name. I didn't know it before in last episode. Roxanne calls out Karen. Then we have tag titles on the line. Riddle, Ricochet versus Chad and Gunther, and they win the titles. Just like how we're winning, and look at Beetle. We have Asuka telling us we're the best boss in the world, and we keep our promises. She's a little bit upset she lost, but it is what it is. We have Bret Hart also telling us we kept a promise. He said him and Seth would work even though they lost, but it is what it is. We start off SmackDown Intercontinental Championship match, Seth versus The Undertaker. Turns out we had a rivalry. I forgot because The Undertaker's been injured for so long. Undertaker, your new Intercontinental Champion. John Cena cuts a promo. Stone Cold versus Cody versus Sheamus versus Edge. And Stone Cold picks up the win. Yeah, we get Rhodes versus Sheamus as a rivalry. The Miz cuts another promo. Asuka versus Rhea continuing their rivalry. and Asuka picks up the win. Oh no, we ended their rivalry. I'm completely wrong. Robert Roode cuts a promo. Another fatal four-way: Bayley versus Nikki versus Stacy versus Bianca. Bianca is winning yet again. We have MVP versus R-Truth versus the British Bulldog in a triple threat match, and the British Bulldog picks up the win. NXT finally does some promos. Good for Xavier Woods. Then we have Ridge Holland, like I said, self promo. Mace versus Reggie versus Drew, and Mace picks up the. Mace has been red hot, and he continues the rivalry. Billy Slugger calls out Candice. Raquel versus Shotzi, and Shotzi picks up the. I'm a child. I laughed at the word Candice. There's Candice again doing a promo. Solo versus Commander Aziz, rematch from last week, and Commander Aziz continues to dominate. We have Cash Suplex going backstage brawl with The Rock, but the Great One can't be stopped by the money. Ooh, but he does get stopped by the injury. Indy Hartwell does a promo. Then we have Rick Boogs versus Finn Balor. They're loving this rivalry on Raw. Rick Boogs picks up the win. Shayna Baszler does a self promo. Then we have Nikki and Stark versus Charlotte and Karen yet again. Ooh, they had Karen and Charlotte's number, but the champs turned it around. Molly Holly calls someone out. I don't remember the name. Rematch: Gunther and Chad Gable versus Ricochet, Matt Riddle. It doesn't matter. They retain. Still champ, like us. We have Ali Brawler, our champion, telling us her contract's running up, so of course we have to keep her, even though she's injured. Then we have Edge telling us he's the fall guy. It's not our fault. You were champ not that long ago. Stone Cold saying he's not 100% after the win, so we tell him the rest. He is the champ. We finally have something for Bianca. A rivalry with Stacy Keibler. They go one-on-one. Bianca's finally getting some wins going. Rivalry at level 4. We have The Miz doing a self-promo yet again 3 weeks in a row. Fatal 4-way: Sheamus, Logan Paul, Cody, and Randy. And Randy's getting 2 wins. Okay. Continues a rivalry and starts a rivalry with his former partner last week. Robert Roode does a promo. Lita versus Bayley versus Nikki versus Dakota. And Lita goes back to her winning ways. Then we have LA Knight, cutting a promo.
Yeah!
We have Cena and Undertaker defend against Bret and Seth. Bret said they were such a good tag team, and they win. Seth loses but wins. We have Shotzi versus Billy Slugger in a Falls Count Anywhere match, and Shotzi picks up the win. No promos again for Xavier. He's digressing. Natalya versus Gigi, 2 of our former wrestlers on SmackDown. We're not on Raw anymore. That was the last game. Natalya picks up the win. Mace versus Reggie, one-on-one. And Mace just continues to dominate. Mace and Commander Aziz just dominating. Fatal 4-way for the NXT title. Drew, Cameron Grimes, Carmelo Hayes, and Mansoor. And Carmelo Hayes picks up the win. We continue Raw with Rick Boogs versus Finn Balor. Finn Balor picks up the win, avenging his loss. They're just loving these matches. Indy calls I don't know her name. Tag team, Rikishi and Tyler Bates versus Cash Suplex and Eddie Pop. Wait. Oh, okay, I was confused. I was about to say, wasn't Eddie Pop and Rikishi feuding, but they fought. Nikki does a promo. Shayna versus Ignition, backstage brawl, and Shayna picks up the win. I am all sorts of confused by their booking right now. Carolina Reaper does some charity. Then we have tag team rematch, no title on the line this time, and Gunther and Chad finally win, but they don't get the titles back. We're still on top, but then you look at Bayley. She's excited for the pay-per-view. Cody comes up to us. He's saying he's the man. SmackDown's the man. He wants more money. We have over $1 million. We're not doing anything with, so we say screw it, Cody. You can have the money you want. We have Seth versus Undertaker. Undertaker takes Seth's belt. Seth takes his belt, and then Seth beats him one-on-one. Continuing that rivalry for WrestleMania. Cena does yet another promo. Roode versus LA Knight versus Logan Paul versus The Miz. Robert Roode picks up the win, starts a rivalry with Logan Paul. Rhea Ripley does a promo. We have Sheamus versus Cody Rhodes, one-on-one. Sheamus just continues to pick up wins. He's red hot right now. Stacy Keibler cuts a promo. Bayley versus Nikki Bella in a steel cage. And Bayley just continues to beat Nikki. We have Candice LeRae versus Billy Slugger versus Natalya versus Brie Bella. Natalya picks up the win, continuing her winning ways. Queen Zelina cuts a promo. We have Mansoor versus Commander Aziz. Solo runs out on Commander Aziz. Does not matter. Commander Aziz is red hot, cannot be stopped. Ridge Holland cuts a promo. Then we have R-Truth versus MVP. One-on-one. MVP's been hot lately, and he continues to be hot as he wins. Continues their rivalry. Wow. Level 3, and it did poorly. Gigi calls out Dewdrop. Reggie versus Mace, one-on-one. Continue their rivalry. Mace cannot be stopped. We have Molly Holly versus Pretty Ruthless in a backstage brawl. Molly Holly picks up yet another win in a good match. Titus O'Neil does a promo. Then we have Carolina Reaper and Andrea Cannons versus Indy and Roxanne and Wow, Andrea and Carolina Reaper pick up the win. Disappointing though. Tyler Bates calls out Chad Gable. Shayna versus Ignition. This time they have an actual match, no backstage brawl, and Ignition picks up the win. Matt Riddle does some charity. Ooh, the tag team rivalry continues as they put the titles on the line this time, and they lose the titles again. Nikki and Stark, champs like us. We have Bret Hart telling us Calgary, Canada. He needs to be on the show. Same thing with Nikki Bella. She wants on. It's WrestleMania time. Hell in a Cell. Seth versus Undertaker for the Intercontinental Championship, and Seth Rollins picks up the win. And it was a legendary match. Cena does a self promo. We had nothing for John this episode. Title match, Fatal 4-Way, Stone Cold versus The Miz versus Robert Roode versus Randy, and Robert Roode wins the Universal title. Glorious! We have LA Knight cutting a promo.
Yeah!
We have Bayley and Nikki Bella in Extreme Rules. Can Nikki finally get a win? She can't. Bayley beats her in a classic match. So sorry for Nikki Bella. Lita does a promo. Cody versus Sheamus versus Brett. Triple threat tables match, and Cody picks up the win. Does he finish the story? Rhea Ripley cuts a promo. Stacey and Bianca add a feud, so we put Allie in there. TLC triple threat for the title, and Allie Brawler ends WrestleMania the champ. We have Mansoor versus Carmelo Hayes. Carmelo Hayes holds all three of the titles, and Mansoor picks up the win against them. Then we have Reggie versus Cameron Grimes. No promos. It's what NXT does. Cameron Grimes picks up the win after losing the title. Fatal 4-Way, Billy, Tamina, Whitney, and Natalia. And Natalia, wow, she's just winning every match put in NXT. Raquel versus Shotzi. I was going to say versus Rodriguez. Raquel picks up the win against Shotzi, completes their rivalry. Then Hell in a Cell, Candice versus Brie, 1-on-1, and Candice LeRae picks up the win. Not good for the Bellas. We have Boogs versus Finn versus Tyler Bate, triple threat, and Boogs picks up the win. Ends his rivalry with Finn. We have Rikishi versus, I forgot his name, Molly Holly versus Carolina Reaper tables match, and Carolina Reaper picks up the win against Molly Holly. Then we have Nikki ASH doing a promo. Cash Suplex versus Ricochet Iron Man match. Ricochet picks up the win. Ooh, and they both get injured. Shayna cuts a promo. We have Indy versus Andrea. Hell in a Cell. Indy picks up the win against Andrea. Then we have Ignition doing some charity. Women's title on the line. Charlotte puts it on the line. Falls count anywhere against Zoe, Roxanne, and Karen. She's your champ. She beats her former partner. Slammy Award time. We're ending the season. We had the most bruisers on the roster. NXT most weight, then Raw charity. Then we get to look at all our accomplishments. We came in first place. Look at us. Look at our match quality, our profits, fans, average card, most rivalries. Best average card quality, we're number one. I mean, we're just that good. And then you look at our summary, only Robert Roode champ because Allie was a rental. Cody most matches. Randy got the most popularity. Taker with the highest average. Taker most injured. Cody most matches booked. We got 5 trophies. You look at NXT stats. Wow, Raquel, she got a lot of love. So did Natalia. Carmelo Hayes cooked. And then Xavier just got 1 trophy. Then you have Raw. Look at Karen. Look at Akira Tozawa. Look at Karen with the most matches, most booked. Look at all of it. Popularity. They got 4 trophies, and that's it. Thank you all for watching Season 2. Next episode, new draft.